And something has been wiped at Facebook, so when you click an app or type the name, users aren't being sent anywhere.
Hundreds of millions of people around the world using some of the most popular social media sites, Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp, have been forced offline in a major global blackout. It's one of the longest outages, already lasting several hours, and Facebook's share price has plummeted by nearly 5%. It's not known what's caused the problems or when they'll be fixed. Our consumer affairs correspondent, Coletta Smith, has the full story.
It's a trilogy of companies with one owner, and this afternoon it was the same message about them all. Facebook is down, Instagram isn't working, and WhatsApp went down too. The fact that all three companies have been impacted suggests that it's something right at the heart of that social media giant that's gone horribly wrong.
Facebook has servers everywhere, all over the world, to ensure that the service it delivers is, of course, optimized and is a good service to the users. So the fact that it's global suggests that it's not a problem with its server system. It could well be a problem at the heart of the technological engine that runs all those servers.
Many within the tech industry think it's a problem with the domain name system. That's effectively the internet's address book, and something has been wiped at Facebook, so when you click an app or type the name, users aren't being sent anywhere.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a nightmare us trying to find each other.
Yeah,
have to go back to text.
I'm so glad it's out, and I think the world would be a much better place if it doesn't come back on.
It's been really annoying. Obviously, I haven't been able to contact my mum because she lives in India and we're not texting and calling.
WhatsApp is rapidly replacing texts and regular calling, particularly in the developing world, as a much cheaper way to communicate. And millions of small companies here and around the globe depend on Facebook to conduct their entire business. Today's outage is huge in scale, but similar events have happened before. In July, problems with the domain name system meant that Airbnb, HSBC Bank and PlayStation were among a raft of sites to go down for hours. But today, with the biggest social media players down, other platforms like TikTok and Twitter are seizing their moment in the limelight.
Let's get more from our North America business correspondent, Michelle Fleury, who's in Boston. Michelle, and this outage, it's gone on for quite a few hours now. It well and truly has broken the internet.
Yeah, I mean, we think this outage has gone on for, around 5 hours at this point. Now, look, they happen from time to time, but typically these problems are fixed very quickly. So an outage this long is highly unusual. And there are going to be many frustrated people tonight, in part because billions of people use these services. Facebook has nearly 2 billion daily users. Instagram, I think, has nearly 1 billion. The damage to the company was reflected in the share price, which closed down nearly 5%. But even at the start of the day, it was already lower because Facebook has been hit by a series of damning reports from a whistleblower accusing the company of prioritizing profits over misinformation and the health and safety of teens. Now, that whistleblower, Frances Haugen, is due to appear before lawmakers on Tuesday to testify about Facebook's impact on teens. We've already heard one senator compare Facebook to big tobacco in the way that they draw in teenagers and cause them harm. So a bad week already for this company.
Her name is Frances Haugen. That is a fact that Facebook has been anxious to know since last month, when an anonymous former employee filed complaints with federal law enforcement.
The thing I saw at Facebook over and over again was there were conflicts of interest between what was good for the public and what was good for Facebook. And Facebook over and over again chose to optimize for its own interests, like making more money.
Frances Haugen is 37, a data scientist from Iowa, with a degree in computer engineering and a Harvard master's degree in business. For 15 years, she's worked for companies including Google and Pinterest.
Side knows. I knew what my future looked like if I continued to stay inside of Facebook, which is person after person after person has tackled this inside of Facebook and ground themselves to the ground.
When and how did it occur to you to take all of these documents out of the company?
At some point in 2021, I realized, okay, I'm going to have to do this in a systemic way, and I have to get out enough that no one can question that this is real.
She secretly copied tens of thousands of pages of Facebook internal research. She says evidence shows that the company is lying to the public about making significant progress against hate, violence, and misinformation.
And one of the consequences of how Facebook is picking out that content today is that it is optimizing for content that gets engagement or reaction. But its own research is showing that content that is hateful, that is divisive, that is polarizing, it's easier to inspire people to anger than it is to other emotions.
Misinformation, angry content is enticing to people and keeps them on the platform.
Yes. Facebook has realized that if they change the algorithm to be safer, people will spend less time on the site They'll click on less ads, they'll make less money.
Haugen says Facebook understood the danger to the 2020 election, so it turned on safety systems to reduce misinformation.
Too dangerous.
But many of those changes, she says, were temporary.
And as soon as the election was over, they turned them back off, or they changed the settings back to what they were before to prioritize growth over safety. And that really feels like a betrayal of democracy to me.
Facebook says some of the safety systems remained, but after the election, Facebook was used by some to organize the January 6th insurrection. Prosecutors cite Facebook posts as evidence, photos of armed partisans, and text including, "By bullet or ballot, restoration of the republic is coming." Extremists used many platforms, but Facebook is a recurring theme. After the attack, Facebook employees raged on an internal message board copied by Haugen. Haven't we had enough time to figure out how to manage discourse without enabling violence? We looked for positive comments and found this. "I don't think our leadership team ignores data, ignores dissent, ignores truth." But that drew this reply. "Welcome to Facebook. I see you just joined in November 2020. We have been watching wishy-washy actions of company leadership for years now. Colleagues cannot conscience working for a company that does not do more to mitigate the negative effects of its platform." That dynamic led to a complaint to Facebook by major political parties across Europe. This 2019 internal report obtained by Haugen says that the parties feel strongly that the change to the algorithm has forced them to skew negative in their communications on Facebook, leading them into more extreme policy positions. The European political parties were essentially saying to Facebook, the way you've written your algorithm is changing the way we lead our countries.
Yes, you are forcing us to take positions that we don't like, that we know are bad for society. We know if we don't take those positions, we won't win in the marketplace of social media.
Evidence of harm, she says, extends to Facebook's Instagram app. One of the Facebook internal studies that you found talks about how Instagram harms teenage girls.
Oh, yeah.
One study says 13.5% of teen girls say Instagram makes thoughts of suicide worse. 17% of teen girls say Instagram makes eating disorders worse.
And what's super tragic is Facebook's own research says, as these young women begin to consume this eating disorder content, they get more and more depressed, and it actually makes them use the app more. And so they end up in this feedback cycle where they hate their bodies more and more. Facebook's own research says it is not just that Instagram is dangerous for teenagers, that it harms teenagers. It's that it is distinctly worse than other forms of social media.
Facebook said just last week it would postpone plans to create an Instagram for younger children. One of the things that Facebook might allege is that she stole company documents.
The Dodd-Frank Act, passed over 10 years ago at this point, created an office of the whistleblower inside the SEC. And one of the provisions of that law says that no company can prohibit its employees from communicating with the SEC and sharing internal corporate documents with the SEC.
Frances Haugen plans to testify before Congress this week. She believes the federal government should impose regulations.
Facebook has demonstrated they cannot act independently. Facebook over and over again has shown it chooses profit over safety. It is subsidizing, it is paying for its profits with our safety. And I'm hoping that this will have had a big enough impact on the world that they get the fortitude and the motivation to actually go put those regulations into place.
And something has been wiped at Facebook.